you already habituated to SAP Business Application Studio as well as WebID. So remember one thing, whether it is WebID or Business Application Studio, the code that you are going to write is same. The only thing is options are different. In WebID, the options are different. In Business Application Studio, the way we run the application, the various options. So these are different, that's all. Okay. But internally, whatever the code that you are going to write is same. Okay. Some folders, in WebID, we don't have this UI5 AML, UI5 local AML package.json. So these will not be there in WebID, but they will be available in Business Application Studio. Okay, but the entire code is same. All right. So now I'm going to create one project. Just to demonstrate this expanded entity. So the screen looks like this. So if this is a view, we are going to ask the end user to enter the email employee ID of the employee ID. It's an input field. And followed by that, I may, so let's keep a go button, or even without the go button also we can achieve it. So once you click on the go button, this employee related information will be displayed like a form. So it is header details, and this employee's project details will be displayed here like a line item, nothing but table. So this will, so with this you will understand the both way of displaying the data. So one is by calling expanded entity manually by using OData model.read statement, and another one is direct binding. So without pulling the data into the JSON model, so direct binding. Okay. So one of you are not in mute, Ravi. Okay. Right. So let us create a new project. So the reason why I'm creating the new project in WebID is when you create a new project in Business Application Studio, somehow I don't like that slowness of revolving round and round and round for every, for project name, it takes few seconds, and for description, it takes few seconds, for namespace, it takes few seconds. So I'm little, somehow I hate that, loading behavior of Business Application Studio. But in WebID, this will be very fast. And if anybody want to try this Visual Studio Code, try this one also. This is a fantastic tool. So very fast. So always remember, any tool that is installed in your machine will be very fast. And any tool which you are loading it from some cloud, okay, so through web, so that will always be slow. So let SAP do how much of marketing or how much of he keep so many videos about Business Application Studio saying that this is super duper bumper. Okay, so it does not matter. Always remember the basic point. Any tool that is loading from a cloud, any cloud, not only SAP's cloud, so will be very slow, because it depends on your internet. It depends, and it is present somewhere in the cloud. So to load that, obviously it takes time. But any tool that is installed in your system will be very fast, because it no need to load it from anywhere. So this will be super fast. So here the SAP WebID is super fast because it is installed in my machine. It's totally installed in my machine. You can see it is localhost. Localhost means which system? Localhost means your machine only, right? So it will be very fast. Even Visual Studio Code will also be very fast because this is installed in your machine. Okay. So some clients who do not have the license. So this point is also very important. So some clients, they don't take the license for SAP WebID. Sorry, Business Application Studio. So those who don't have license for Business Application Studio. The Business Application Studio is very costly, 45,000 per month. So paying 45,000 per month may not be that much for few clients, okay? But some small scale companies and even few clients like HP, I should not take the names, but few clients like these, so they still don't use Business Application Studio because of its licensing cost. So do you know what they use? They use the local web ID. So it is a local install web ID. I think the spelling is wrong. So web ID and this Visual VS Code. So these two are extensively used for those who do not have license for Business Application Studio. And among these two, I can say VS Code is more popular than SAP local web ID, because after the declaration of the death of web ID for the year 2026, so this VS Code is the only future option. Okay, so local web ID will become a history. So I will show you how to create a project in VS Code as well. Okay, so that all options you can use in your real time. So VS Code is almost like Business Application Studio. So in fact, SAP has copied VS Code and developed Business Application Studio. Okay, so Business Application Studio is not any innovative idea of SAP. It's just a copy of Visual Studio Code. Okay. Right. So let us create a project, new project from template, SAP UI5. See how much fast I can finish this project. So B72 expanded entity. So I'm just giving this name as expanded entity. Now let me give the namespace com.demo. Next and finish. So fast. Can you finish the project this much quickly in BAS? No way. So this is my index.html. So if you want to give the full URL, so you can give, so that you can still enjoy the latest version of SAP UI5, so without Business Application Studio also. So sometimes I do so many experiments on SAP UI5. All those experiments I do in WebID, because this is very quick. I can quickly create a project and do my experiment whatever I want. So you'll find so many experimented projects at the bottom. So I experiment on some multi-input, some UI table. I experiment on a few more. So you'll find at the bottom. Okay. Anyway, so let me just SAP_horizon_dark. All right, save and run this application. Okay, so we got this. Now let's go to the, so we need to add the OData service to the project. So even adding the OData service is also easy. So right click, new, OData service. And here from the drop down, you need to select S/4HANA 2021. And viewer service 22, employee service. Click next, finish. So that's all in the data sources. This will be added, but the only downside is OData model will not be created. So this is something we need to add it manually. So if this would have been given, then that would be great. All right. So we have added this OData service as well. So that's why it is asking the username and password. Now let's go to the view and create our view. And then demo. All right. So here, let us take a small panel with a header text as search employee details and employee details. Okay. So here I'm taking a label text equal to employee ID, and then in the input field ID equal to ID in the ID EMP ID. All right. Now let's have a look at the output window. So we have this employee ID and this is the input field. Let's keep a go button, but I want all of these horizontally side by side. So if you want all of them side by side, then what you can do, so give some width for the input field. And you can also keep this in a flex box. Let us try the flex box. I'm keeping all these three in a flex box. So I need a go button as well. So button text equal to go, type equals to in the flex box. So there is a property justify content equal to center. So let me keep this at the center. So now this is how it is looking. So this label is going to the top edge. So we want to keep it at the middle. So what we can do for the label, we can write a class equal to SAP UI tiny margin. So if you give SAP UI tiny margin, now let us see what happens. So this has came here, or you can use, instead of tiny margin, you can use small margin. So label got set, and for between these two also you can keep a margin. So for the button, I'm going to use this. So SAP UI small margin begin. So we just want it at the begin. Yeah, now you can see this employee ID and the go button. Okay, or you can also use a simple form here, guys. In the simple form also we have the label span, empty span combination, using which you can keep the employee ID somewhere here. Okay, so like that also you can do. I just use Flexbox because I just want to keep this at the center. Okay, fine. So now I'm going to take another panel, and this is to display the header details, that is employee details. So header text equal to employee details. So here I will use obviously a simple form. So I have taken the simple form XML ns equal to sap.ui.layout.form. Okay, now let us display colon simple form, and let me keep some properties here. So this is simple form. The same control ID being used. Okay, so by the way, I don't need the ID because I'm just displaying the data. So this title is not required because we already have the title here. So this title I'm removing. Editable true, layout responsive grid layout, label span 2 and empty span 5. That's fine. Okay. So employee ID. So required to not. This is not required at all. So right click, find and replace. Replace with empty. Okay. So label input field. Label input field. And we do not have the phone numbers, so let me remove this. And we have salary, we do not have this currency code, status, rating, and date of joining we have. Okay, fine. So let's have a look at the output window. Actually, these are input fields. We do not need the input fields because we are displaying the data. So for displaying the data, actually a label with a combination of text UI element is fine. So let me replace all the input wherever input is there, find and replace. So find this input with a text UI element. Okay. So let's start from here. Replace. Okay, so that's all. And even this one also we can replace with the text. Okay, so even IDs are also not required. So if you want to remove, you can remove it. So we don't require any IDs because our purpose is to display the form, not to edit the form. So since this is just a display purpose, so editable must be false. And so the label span and empty span, that is fine. Okay, so now you can see this is how the form looks like without any text. And now let us prepare our project details as well. Okay, so I'm taking another panel here. So this is to display the project details. So I need to write the table code here. So I need to write the table code. So since the table code is already there here, so let me use it. So I'm going to the view 2 and I will copy the projects table. I'm going to copy this table. Control C, Control V. Okay, so table columns and then the binding to this. Okay, so items binding is done to the 2 projects. Got it? Now let's have a look at the output window. So employee ID input field, go button, form is empty, table is empty. Form is empty, table is empty. Now, if I enter the employee ID 100002 or something and click on the go button, I want the form should be filled and the table also should be filled. So there are 2 ways to do this. One is direct OData model binding without pulling the data from backend into the front end into a local JSON model. So that is best way because it reduces the coding. Okay. Second one, using model.read statement. So you read the complete expanded entity. So I will show you what is expanded entity. So this is employee set, which gives all the data. So this gives all the data. And so if I write within the round brackets 100001, so this gives only single employee data. And for this, if I write question mark dollar expand equal to 2 projects, so this gives me employee data as well as project data, both. Okay. That. So we need to do the action on click of the go button. So let us assign the press action for this go button. So this is my go button. I need to write the press action, press equal to on press go. Now copy this, go to the controller. This is not our project. This is our project. Now on press of the go button, all of you observe what I'm doing. I'm just reading the employee ID from that input field. This by ID of the input field. This is ID of the input field dot get value. So I got the value. Okay, and then I'm writing this dot get view dot bind element. And what I'm going to bind, I'm going to bind till here. So I'm going to bind only till employee set of 100001. So here 100001 is a variable, so which is employee ID. So copy this, paste here, and use my shortcut to make this dynamic concatenation. So plus on both sides of the variable and double quotation on both sides of plus. So I just read the employee ID from the screen. So this is what I read. And for the entire view, this dot get view dot bind element. So I'm binding this URL to whom? To this view. Okay. So this URL will be hit to the backend, that is employee set of employee ID. So this URL will hit to the backend. So which URL? This URL. So we'll hit to the backend, and this data will be pulled out. And now to display this data, for the text UI elements, we need to write the text property and do the binding against the individual fields, employee ID. So this will be displayed here, and this is employee name. So let's copy. First, let us paste it everywhere. The text UI element, sorry, the text property binding. So this is employee ID, this is name, and this is designation, this is skill, this is email, this is salary, status, rating, and date of joining. Okay. All right. Now let us see. I'm entering 100001 and then click go. And you can see this is Amit's header details and this is Amit's project details. Here, so you can also change this from 100001 to 2 and then click the go button. Now you can see this is Anil, and there are two projects for Anil, and I'm clicking 100003, click go button, and you can see this is 3 projects of Babji. Okay, so how this header details are getting displayed, because your view is already binded with /employee set of 100, whatever the employee ID. So this URL, it is hitting to the backend and pulling this data, and this data is directly binded to the simple form. So we are not storing any data anywhere. So this is a recommended approach by SAP. This improves the performance actually. Okay. And even this table data, so this how it is getting the data, because the table is binded with the 2 projects. The table items is binded with the 2 projects. When the tables binding is done against a navigation property, see, this is not an entity search. What is 2 projects? 2 projects is a navigation property. So if you want, you can cross check in the metadata document. So here $metadata. So you can see in the employee entity there is something called navigation property, and in the navigation property the 2 projects is mentioned. So whenever a table is binded to a navigation property, it checks the parent binding. So the parent binding is this, so which is /employee set of employee ID. So this will considered as a parent binding, and then for this particular employee set of 100001, so these 2 projects will be appended, and that is how the project details it is able to display. Okay, so this is the first approach. So in this approach, how many lines of code we need to write? Only 2 lines of code we need to write, only 2 lines. Now the second approach. In the second approach, we need a JSON model to store the data into a front end. Okay, so let us declare a JSON model now. We can go to manifest.json. So here declare a model called EMP model, and this model I am giving the type as JSON model. So the type is sap.ui.model.json.json model. So we have this model here. Right. Now when you press the go button, reading the employee ID is fine, but I will comment this. So because we are doing the second approach, we are not going to bind element by using this path. So we are going to read by using model.read statement. I'm going to trigger this URL. So this URL gives me both employee data and projects data, so that I can store this data into front end. Okay, so let us see how to do this. To perform any CRUD operations manually, I need OData model object. So let me take the OData model object. The OData model object is this dot get owner component dot get model. So this gives me OData model object, and I also want the JSON model object. So I will write this dot get owner component dot get model, and within the round bracket I will ask for the EMP model, which is a JSON model name. Now using OData model object, I will use dot read statement, and within the read I'm going to give this employee set of 100001. Okay, employee set of 100001. So now this is again a hard-coded value, so you need to replace it with dynamic concatenation. So plus on both sides of the variable and double quotation on both sides of plus. Okay, fine. So this is your first parameter inside the read, model.read. So you have given your path. Now after the double quotation, the comma will start, and so here there is a success function and there is a error function. So anyway, error is not required for us. But before the success function, there is another option, and that is called URL parameters. URL parameters. Now here we need to give this $expand parameter. So you need to write it like this. Codes. You need to write 2 projects. Now what is the meaning of this? Model.read / employee set of employee ID. So we'll construct the path till your base URL, that is so till this base URL and / employee set of 100001. So this path will be constructed. So when you write model.read statement, model.read employee set of some employee ID. And since you have written URL parameters $expand equal to 2 projects, to this particular URL, $expand equal to 2 projects will be appended. Now this becomes the total URL. So this total URL will hit to the backend and get the data. Once upon a time, this syntax is not there. We used to write the $expand also here itself, like this. $expand equal to 2 projects. This also we used to write in the same line. But after the introduction of OData V2, after the introduction of OData V2 model, so this particular syntax has been changed. So you need to write this under URL parameter option. Okay, right. But altogether, basically this is going to hit your employee set of 100001 $expand equal to 2 projects. So there is a new syntax basically after the introduction of OData V2. So in OData V1, so we use it to write in the same line here itself. Okay, fine. So now inside my success function, I will get the data. So let us see by keeping a debug point if I am getting the data or not. So this data I need to save in my JSON model. So my JSON model dot set data and the data that I got from here. So now let us click 100001 and click the go button. So before I click the go button, I want a debug point here. Inside the success, I want a debug point. Now click go, and the debug point has stopped inside the success. Now you can copy this data that is coming from the backend and put it here. Now you can see what you are getting. So you are getting all employee data as well as you are getting something called 2 projects, which is an array. So what is 2 projects? So 2 projects is an object, and inside the object there is an array. Results. So results is the name of the array. Okay. Now inside the results, in the 0th record, So this particular data is available. Okay. Now this entire thing is present in JSON model. So you need to change your bindings to the JSON model. Now let's go to the view. So in the view, whatever the bindings that you have done, so all these bindings belongs to OData model, but now you need to do the binding with the JSON model. So what is your JSON model name? EMP model. What is your JSON model name? EMP model. So go to the view and write EMP model arrow mark. So copy this, paste, paste, paste. Okay. So now your form will be filled. Only form will be filled, table will not get filled. So click go. There is something wrong. Nothing wrong. Sorry, this is a form, right? This is not a table. So you need to write EMP model arrow mark and then slash. Slash is also required because slash indicates go inside the model. So inside the model, there is a employee ID field. So pull that value and display it here. So slash is required. So what I will do, I will just find wherever this is and I will replace this with a slash. I think there are two. So I think it is better I keep this slash manually. Yeah, so now you should get it. Now click the go button. The debug has stopped. So let me continue. So let me just paste this here. All right, so you got it. Now continue. Still. It is saying EMP model dot set data. What is wrong with this? Cannot read properties of undefined. Reading set data. Why? Let us go and see. This is my EMP model. Model dot JSON model. Is this a JSON model? Yes. This dot get owner component dot get model. EMP model is a JSON model. Yeah. Then JSON model dot set data. Data. What's wrong here? Really don't understand. This is EMP model dot set data. I'm setting the data. Let's go to the manifest.json. Is the same EMP model sap.ui.model. Yeah, so this is the wrong, guys. sap.ui.model.json, no OData. sap.ui.model.json.json model. Okay, so that's wrong. So we did not define this as a JSON model. We defined that as some wrong model. So that's the reason the set data is giving the error. So now let's click go. This should work now as per my expectation. So data is coming and let me continue the execution. Yes. So form is filled. Now what about the table? So this table also pulling the data from the JSON model. So here the table data is present inside this array. And we know that the JSON model should point to the array. So let us go and point our table to the array. So the items binding should not be done to the navigation property. The item binding should be done to the, again, JSON model. So my JSON model name is EMP model. Now inside this particular model, this entire data is set. So write arrow mark slash. So we know that whenever you are binding a JSON model to the table, you need to point out to the array inside the JSON model. So where is the array? The array is here. What is the array name? Results. But this array is present inside two projects. So first you need to write two projects and then slash results, which is the array name. So this is a path to the array name. Fine. So, and just copy this EMP model to its binding also, to the below binding. So here some people may ask, so why slash is not required here? Slash not required here because slash we have given for the items binding. So whenever you give the slash to the items binding, so for the inner you no need to give the slash. So here in case of simple form, I don't have any items binding. It's a plain structure. So that's why you need to give the slash. So slash indicates to go inside. That is the meaning. Okay. All right. So this is done, guys. So click the go button. I don't need debug anymore. So now you can see the form is filled, the project is filled. Now let's click 100002, go button. So two projects, 100003, go button. Now you should see three projects. Okay. So like this, you can achieve this in both the ways by calling expanded entity or directly by using element binding. So whatever the approach, so you feel convenient, you can use it based on the requirement in the real time. And without the go button also we can do. So this input field has a action called enter. Okay. So I'm removing this button. So button is not required. So there is something called enter. Enter or submit, something is there. Submit. Yeah. So for the submit, you can call the same function on press 2. And this button is not required anymore. Sorry. So I commented the button. In some projects, they don't ask to give the button. So on enter. This one 00001. Yeah. So I'm just pressing the enter key. That's all. I press the enter key. So it's working. Change and press the enter key. That's all. Okay. Yeah. So this is your expanded entity by using a separate project. So I will send this project also today. So maybe in tomorrow's class, I will also show you how to create a project by using this Visual Studio Code. So this is also important. As I told you, those people who, those clients who cannot bear the license of Business Application Studio, the next option they choose is Visual Studio Code. And there are clients which are using local web ID also because local web ID is installed in local and there is no licensing cost for local web ID. Okay. So however, between these two, I can say Visual Studio Code is something, it's best choice to go for the future, keeping the future in mind. Local web ID is totally for on-premise scenarios only on-premise servers. Local web ID cannot be used for cloud-based scenarios, but VS Code can be. Okay, so in tomorrow's class, I will show you this. If you have anything to ask, you can ask. Otherwise, we can leave for today. Okay, so this week I will be covering your interview questions, these Visual Studio. So these kind of miscellaneous things we'll be covering in this week, and then we'll close. And similarly, I will tell you something about the standard applications. Okay, so I mentioned on Friday, right? So that explanation I will give you in this week. Any questions in today's class? Yeah, Deepali. Yeah, Deepali, I can hear you. Yeah, that's a good question actually. So just like you have a destination in Business Application Studio, so similarly there is a destination you need to maintain in Web IDE also. So where is the destination? The destination will be available in the installation folder. So I install my Web IDE in the C drive. So this is my installed folder, Web IDE 2018. In 2019, the Business Application Studio has come. Okay, so last version of Web IDE is 2018 only. And if anybody are interested in this local Web IDE, I will send this zip file. You just need to download it. Okay, so you need to double click on this. So you'll find a Eclipse folder. And to open SAP local Web IDE and use it, you need to double click this Orion. So this is what is running here, Orion. So these three slant dots. So that is what is here. And then you need to hit this URL to open the local Web IDE. But anyway, we are talking about the destination. So there is a folder called config master. Double click on this. There is a folder called service destination. Double click on this. There is a folder called destinations. Double click on this. And here you need to keep the property file. Okay, so let me just open it and show you. So right click, edit with Notepad++. Now this is nothing but a similar kind of destination file, just like you uploaded in Business Application Studio, but this will be not that much lengthy, so this will be shorter. So the main thing is IP address, port number. So since I maintain this in the destination, that is the reason I am able to add the service and I am able to run the application. Okay. So this is also a good tool, guys. This we'll see in tomorrow's class. Any other questions? Even actually, I also did not use this Visual Studio Code much because so in Office I always use this Business Application Studio. So luckily all the clients with which I have worked, they have Business Application Studio, so I did not get a chance to work with Visual Studio Code much in the real time, but I can able to use this also. So this is more or less like BAS. So any questions, guys? Okay, so fine then. So we'll meet in tomorrow's class. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.